and want to ask you.
Yes.
So could you give me a bit of your background that inspired you to go after being a public servant?
Well, I was working as an internal auditor for FDIC in Washington, D.C. for 10 years when I got out of college. And in the midst of that, I was doing a mentoring program on weekends. I was working in our church, following the direction of God and saying my young people weren't being active. So I said, what can I do to get the young people more active? Mm-hmm. So I started the youth choir, and then we started the mentoring program. And then in the midst of that program, come back home on weekends, working with young people in our community, I said, I feel like I could do more. So I left my job in 97 to come back home on a full-time basis and do my program full-time. So we would go to like the College Hill Rec Center, play basketball outside. And I said, what would it be like if we had our own basketball gym? What would it be like if we had our own computer lab? What would it be like if we had our own after-school tutoring program? Mm-hmm. So the vision started coming together. God started speaking to me. And I just said, God, I'm going to seek you first. And as I began to seek God first, all those things started coming in line. This connection, that connection, connected with Habitat and some other people. So in 97, we formed a partnership with Habitat and some other people called Kevin Campbell and Mike Anderson and several others. And we built the Jubilee Center, opened up in February 1999. So that started the work of my ministry officially, where I can really say, God is really moving in this area. So we built the Jubilee Center with some great people. And in the midst of that, you work with our school program, you work with school system a lot. And he said, what more can I do? So when I was working with schools and said, well, if you did this, you could do something different in schools. I said, well, let me get on the school board. So I served 9 years on the school board. And then the next level was, after being on the school board, we had to always go to city council for our funding. And I'm like, wow. What would happen if I got on city council so I could address the funding to make sure that the schools were secure, to make sure parks were secure, and other everyday life things I was interested in? So I said, let me run for city council. So that's how I kind of got from school board to city council, because I wanted to make sure my voice was being heard. I wanted to make sure I had a seat at the table, whether it's the school board or a city council. When decisions are being made, I wanted to make sure I was at that table of the decisions for my community.
Got you. And so throughout that whole path, throughout that journey that you're telling me, I'm pretty sure by you being a mentor to the young men and the young women at your Jubilee Center, tell me something about the role models that brought you up.
The number one was my pastor, my father, Bishop Norton B. Wilder. He was a great man, a guy. He built five churches. The last one he built when he was right before he passed, he built $1 million edifice on Hill Street. So again, to see this man give his whole life to our community, to the faith, to the religious community, and build churches all over Lynchburg, Charlottesville, Eagle Rock, all over the Covington, all over the Virginia. So to see what he did in our community, to see what he did in our state, so wow, it was an inspiration. So I thank God for being a son of a man of vision. Also my neighbors, Gil Cobbs, he was my middle school principal, lived across the street from me. I would just see him in class and see him in school and be an example to the African-American community. And it was also on city council. Other people, M.W. Thornhill with Community Funeral Home. You're in the black church and the community funeral homes are the main jobs of things of that nature. Just seeing them and have such excellence and the work they do, and they drove the big cars, things like that. As a kid, you get excited about that. But just seeing him be active in politics, active as the mayor, first black mayor in Lynchburg, things that he did. And also Mr. Mangum, Charles Mangum was the attorney in my neighborhood. Just to see a black face, a black man as an attorney, that was just exciting to see other people of color in different positions. So I always got excited to see that wow, I could have been a lawyer, or I could be a doctor, or I could be a principal, whatever. When I see people of color look like me, it just gives me a desire to strive for more.
Yeah. Now, how important is it seeing that you saw as a kid positive black role models? So how important is it for me, I'm in my 40s, to be a positive influence to the young black men that are coming up now?
I think that's so crucial. I have built my mantra, my life on that very motion, because I think as a black man, you hear so many negative things. So I feel like I got to go extra steps. I got to go extra mile to make sure as a positive male role model in our community. So I have degrees in accounting. I have a degree in a master's in business, a master's in education, a master's in education leadership. I got a doctorate in education leadership. Again, even I didn't have to go get a doctorate, but I said, I don't want any excuses for anybody to make for me not to be at that table or to be qualified or to be justified at the table. So I made sure I was qualified. I made sure I had credentials. I made sure that the person come behind me to say, wow, he's a doctor. He has a master's in counseling. He has a BS in accounting. I can do that as well. So I've always worked hard. Like I was mentioning, even my job in DC, we have casual Fridays. You could wear jeans on Fridays. I wouldn't wear jeans on Fridays. I would still wear these khakis and a polo shirt or a dress shirt because I didn't want them to give me no mop. I want to make sure I don't want them to downgrade me and say, oh, he's this. I don't want to give them any ammunition to say I'm not qualified to be at that table. So I've always worked extra hard to make sure I had my seat at the table. And if I didn't get at my table, I would build my own table.